Hello again. So what are we fixing today? I have a Ryobi P2800 1-gallon chemical sprayer that was given to me as a gift about a month ago. Over the past few uses, its performance has really deteriorated, and yesterday it wouldn't spray anything at all. The motor ran, battery's fully charged, but it just nothing's coming out of the nozzle. I checked everything to make sure nothing was plugged. I actually took the hose right off the unit right here and turned it on, and nothing came out. So I've already repaired it and tested it. It works fine now, and I'll show you what I had to do to correct the problem. First thing, you need to take the wand off the hose that unscrews right here. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws you need to remove from this bottom cover. I'll be back when I get that done. Okay, now I've got the screws all loosened. Before you remove this cover, there's an O-ring right here that needs to be removed. And I'm going to have to set you down for just a moment. I'm just going to use a butter knife and carefully remove that O-ring without damaging it. Okay, and there's the O-ring being removed. So I'll set that off to the side. Now this cover should just come off. And there's the innards. Now to remove the pump assembly, all you need to do is pull this away from the plastic and pull that nozzle portion out and lay it down. And this will be the area that we'll be addressing right here. And you need to remove 4 screws and then lift this top portion of the pump off. I'll do that and I'll be back. Okay, I have those 4 screws removed, and I'll remove that top portion of the pump. Tough to do one-handed. I gotta set you down, sorry. Okay, so there's the top portion of the pump. And the problem with this pump was right here. There's a rubber reed valve that it had gotten swollen up from the chemicals that I was using. It was actually puckered up so bad that these little reeds were jammed and they couldn't operate properly. So let me get this out of here. And by the way, this is keyed, so it can only go in one way. This flat here is larger than this flat here. Okay? So let's see if I can get this up again. Okay, so there's that rubber reed valve, taking it out and setting it down. And again, I took a couple still shots before and after, and I had to take a brand new pair of sharp scissors, and I trimmed about a 32nd of an inch off the outside all the way around. And as a matter of fact, there are the remnants of me trimming that outside of the valve. And then I took this out into my shop, and I used an X-Acto knife and a Dremel tool with a grinder on it. I took and held that reed valve back with my finger, and I just ground a little bit of that opening so it wouldn't interfere with the reed valve itself. And as you can see, there's now daylight through there, and before it was actually jammed up against the inside portion of the rubber. And you can see that in the stills. So now we'll put it back together. And again, maybe you can see this. Hopefully you can see it. Right here, you see that line, and there'll be a line in the rubber section here. So you know that needs to be flipped over and go down. So we'll put that back in the upper portion of the pump body. I'll reassemble it and put the screws back in, and I'll be back. Okay, it's reassembled and I'm getting ready to tighten the screws down. And one tip I learned is that when you go to install screws in plastic that have already been installed once, turn the screw backwards until you feel it clunk in to the thread. And hopefully you can hear this. I'll set the camera down, put in the screwdriver, and if I turn it counterclockwise, you can hear it click. So that's what you want to hear. And again, click, start the threads. Again, click. That's a good tip. Click and tighten it down. So I'll finish tightening these screws and then I'll come back. Okay, the screws have been installed, and actually this is pretty simple. You just put that up in there. Okay, that's reinstalled, and just the pump seats in here and around there, and just push it in and it locks in place. Put the bottom cover back on, install your screws, and you should be good to go. And don't forget to put that O-ring back on there. O-ring goes right back on here. Well, there it is. It's all back together, and actually this is the second time, because the first time I went through was for myself, just to make sure that my theory was correct on what was wrong with the unit, and it works fine. It's just like new. The other handy tip that I was watching online is this measuring cup that comes with the unit. They say when you install it on the tank, don't crank down hard on it. Just when it makes contact, just a little more, and then stop. I guess they break really easy, and then you wind up having to buy a new one. It worked well when I first got it, but then it just kept getting worse and worse, and I just didn't want to throw something away that I possibly could repair, as usual. I think what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to have a gallon of distilled water dedicated to this sprayer, and when I get done spraying with the unit, I'm going to disconnect it from the tank, stick that pickup tube into the gallon of distilled water, and then run it for 30 seconds to flush out whatever's inside the pump and the line, just so it's clean and it doesn't get subjected to any chemicals. So that's just something I'm going to do, and hopefully it'll make it last a long time. So thanks again for taking the time to watch the video, and have a nice day.